All right, it's close enough. Good evening, everybody. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Please stand and join me in the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First item on the agenda is to either approve or amend.
Motion. Support.
Thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is public comment, and I would just like to mention that due to recent activity at the Parks and Recreation Commission meeting, we will not, well, pursuant to that, we will not be taking any action this evening. We are awaiting a legal opinion from our attorney, so we don't have that yet. So, public comment. Anybody that wishes to address us, please stand and state your name and address.
Go ahead. My name is Bob Johnson. I grew up in this township and went to Conklin School when there were still 8 grades in kindergarten there, a lot of years ago. Spent the first 10 years on Duck Lake Road, and in 1952 my parents bought a lot over on Scenic Drive by Muskrat Lake, and my sister and I were raised there. In 1972 my parents bought a second lot just south of them, and they kept it vacant for all these years. Dad died in '96. My mom passed away a couple of years ago. She was 4 months shy of 95. Back in 2002, 16 years ago, we had a birthday party for my mom, my sister, who's since passed as well. I'm an only now. We're with Mom, and she says, you know, I only got 1 tax bill from the township this year. I said, what do you mean? She said, well, I always get 2 summer bills and 2 winter bills. I said, what did you do? She said, I called the township and asked what was going on, and they said, you're getting a combined bill. It doesn't change anything else, but it saves administrative expense, and you just write 1 check each time. And I said, oh, okay, good. Well, after she passed, we talked to a realtor. My son, who's Rob Johnson, lives on Michelinda Road. We decided to list the property, and the realtor said, we can't list it. You only have 1 tax map key number. I said, what? You only have 1 tax map key number. So I called the township, and they had me talk to Mr. Jensen about this matter. And he said, you need to get for me a current survey, copies of your deeds, and if you can show me that it's a lot of record, you know, we can give you 2 tax map key numbers. And I said, great. So I gave him, we got the property survey, brand new. I gave him the deed from Emmett and Grace Wittes from 1952, copy of it recorded. Gave him a copy of the deed from Leonard Jennings from 1972. I gave him copies of previous tax bills that showed 2 tax map key numbers because my mother kept everything, and I had that. And I gave him, I'm forgetting one more thing. Anyway, I mailed it to him May 27th, and I called him a month later and said, do you need anything more from me? He said, no, I'll get to it, I'm real busy. And I said, fine. And at the end of July, I called and said, I'm just checking in again. He said, I'll get to it, don't get with me. And now it's 111 days since I gave him that. The ordinance describes what a lot of record is. This was surveyed by Morris Buck way back in 1948, and my mom's estate and trust has 2 lots. We'd like to sell 1. We'd like to perhaps keep 1 in the family. We might sell it, but I need 2 tax map key numbers, and I'm here to ask for your help. Be happy to answer any questions if I could.
Unfortunately, we don't typically respond right now, but we will look into it.
I'm not looking for a response.
Okay. Thank
My
you.
mother would have said, that's it, she wrote.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you, John. And I live in Grand Marais, so my friend and I have 6.5 hours to go to bed tonight, so we're going to get out of here.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And Rob is at 5890 Michelinda Road. You can call him at 206-0530, and thanks for coming. And thank you, John. So nice to see you.
Bob, it's nice to see you after what, 30 years?
30 years, yes.
30 years, yes, right.
Thank you all.
walked in and
Thank you.
you recognized me. I must admit, I didn't recognize him without hair.
I lost a couple of hairs since then.
But we came to town, started practicing law at about the same time. And my name is John Snyder, and I live at 450 Channel Road in North Muskegon. And the only reason I want to address you tonight is to indicate to you that I am concerned about what's going on with the causeway, and it looks like it's getting improved, and certainly the appearance is improved. I continue to be frustrated because part of the improvement is based on the fact that there is a bladder that eliminates the water flow coming in at this present time. And I've asked the question for a little better than a year and over a year, as to why there has not been a request back to NOAA to try to resolve the issue of the flood control gate that was there before. And unfortunately, I don't get a response. Everybody says, well, if you go to NOAA, they'll cancel the grant, and you'll have to repay the money if you're going to modify the grant. I can't imagine that. I am trying to get a response, and I would imagine that NOAA, if they had the opportunity to review what's going on and the amount of money they spent, in addition to what was originally granted, that they would make the improvement. So all I wanted to do is indicate that that's what I'm continuing to try to do, and irrespective of what happens, I'm going to continue to try to do that. It makes no sense to me to put just short of $3 million into that and to have the situation as it exists and not be able to do anything about it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else?
Of course.
That's okay.
Hi, Carlette Mittenbuehler, 4623 Eastern Road. This is kind of unreal to me and a waste of paper. There's really no agenda on here. No unfinished business, no new business. What about the life rings that were getting welded? It's almost winter. Is the lawnmower fixed? Someone was supposed to order some chairs. Were they done? Was that done? And I know you got an email that was supposed to be read into public record tonight by Mr. Paquette. I asked last month about all the new rules and signage that is not up at the park yet. Nothing can be enforced without the signs, the sheriff tells me. Now, I'm over in this park a lot because the loitering and the drinking and the smoking marijuana is absolutely horrific. If this new law for marijuana, recreational marijuana, takes effect, this park is going to be a haven because it already is. I smell it all the time. The loitering concerns me because it only means people are up to absolutely no good and vandalizing your property and mine like we've already experienced, both of us. The newest vandalism happened this past weekend. Somebody screwed a 4-inch decking nail into the oak tree at T1 and advertised on it. Advertising isn't permitted in this park, is it? Let alone screwing nails into trees, oak trees at that. The alcohol bottles and cans are well past your 30-foot limit from the pavilion. The trash can at the beach is overflowing, and it has been since July 4th. Please talk about this stuff tonight and read that email that's to be put into public record. And if you don't have it in a real form, I have it.
I have.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Is there anyone else that wishes to address the board? If not, I will get to the email sent by Dave Paquette, and I'm going to summarize it because there's a lot here to it.
I want to hear it all. I think we should hear it all.
There's a lot of stuff in there.
It should
be. Should not be repeated. But anyways, I'm going to start. On October 9th, the Fruitland Township Parks Commission held their last meeting before the November election. The Parks Commission, by the narrowest of margins, with 2 commissioners absent, voted to turn over jurisdiction of the Eastern Road Park disc golf course operations to the Fruitland Township Board. This action was both illegal and wrong. For a variety of reasons, we urge the Township Board to reject this action by the Parks Commission and to dispel any notion the Township Board should usurp the power of the Parks Commission and take over any of the jurisdiction of Eastern Road Park and/or the disc golf course operations. For all of these reasons, the Township Board should reject any attempt by the current Park Commission to shift any of the authority or jurisdiction over to Eastern Road Park to the Township Board. And the reason I'm not reading it all is because these items will all be addressed in the legal opinion, and we can address them at that time. But anyone that wishes a full copy of this may get a copy. This email will be attached to the minutes and kept on record. Moving on, consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
We'll do a roll call vote. Or is there any discussion? Roll call vote. Treasurer Beagle?
Yes.
Board Member Bard?
Yes.
Board Member Cisneros?
Yep.
Board Member Holman?
Yes.
Board Member Hample?
Yes.
And I vote yes. And there is no unfinished business. Does anybody have anything that they want to?
We can talk about some of that in one of our announcements or communications.
Okay.
What about the life ring?
I'll get it. I've got it. That'll be under communications. Just get any new business? If not, brings us to our second segment of public comment. All right, announcements, communications. I did reach out after a work session in your request, Mary Ann, to Versatile Fabrication, asking about the status of our life rings, and he said that they planned on being there this week. I will have the guys go out and check and make sure they are, and I will also follow up with another email to him.
And who was that? Oh, Versatile.
Versatile Fabrication. And I also have road commission reports. Seminole Road recently underwent a cross tile replacement. Didn't know what that was, so I called and asked. They said it's a pathway for water that runs under the road surface. Not sure why they did that, but I'm assuming it's because of all the heavy rains we've had this year. And Lawrence Road from Riley to Todd is undergoing ditching, and that actually has been going on since the 8th of October and is expected to continue through the 19th. And that's all I have.
What about, she mentioned tabletop chairs. Has that been taken care of?
Yep, and they've already been rented out.
Not chairs.
We didn't get chairs, we just got new
Or
tables.
just
tables.
tables?
We had plenty of chairs.
And the other thing I had was a comment from Mr. Bob Johnson. That seems like quite a long time to be waiting for some kind of an answer from Bell. So I think we need to address that and
Okay, I'll follow up on it tomorrow.
get that straightened out.
Anybody else? Anything else? Brings us to adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, everybody.
Ask us all to go with that.
Oh, yeah, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
I don't know if
Thank
that
you.
is that much, but
Yeah, you're right, I should have
so
though.
we.
Nice day. Of this month.